Let me just log on.
Oli ho'oulu no nakamakani o tapai moku. Hei ala e na kamakani o tapai moku e. Hei ala e na kamakolo kolo hai o talahui e. Hei ala e na kamai hilu kamakala e. Hei ala e na kamamai au o tpai I heoli I kolo manu e. Hei ala e aulula houlula kamana e. Aulu tai ewe alala ola aha ai tamano na moku o na kaiko e. Eyo e lono nui a kea. Eyo e nakapi I koa oli loa. Aulu I tamautua kui Hawaii. Eyo e ihi kapalau mai awa. Eyo e nakama o kamalala walu. Aulu I tamautua kui maui. Eyo e kanaloa. Eyo e napuko o tamoana. Aulu I tamautua kui ka ho'olawe. Eyo e kalaipa hoa. Eyo e na alai nui ahina. Aulu I tamautua kui molokai. Eyo e lana I o ka ulala au. Eyo e kalau au te atua pahulu. Aulu I tamautua kui lana. Eyo e lalo vai ea. Eyo e na uhi o kaku I hewa. Aulu I tamautua kui o ahu. Eyo e kamawai lua lani. Eyo e na me e o kaumuali. Aulu I tamautua kui kawai. Eyo e kaunu. E na mua kakala o kalala kea. Aulu I tamautua kui ni I hau. Eyo e hawa I ka mole o ka honua. Eyo e hawa I ka piko o kanaka. Eyo e hawa I ka bai moku ola. Eyo e hawa I nui a kea, hawa I kuauli. Hawa I o kalani o wā kea. E ku ka awino e o lano.
Kale Chang, welcome to this episode of Huewai Ola. Special mahalo to Brother Kamana Opono Crab for that oli to set the space so we can have a a pono environment, malie environment to share in this wonderful time together. Welcome to He Huewai Ola. It's a webinar series brought to you by Ahakane and Kanaiokana. This series is an opportunity for us to strengthen our ohana, our families at home. We believe a wonderful way to do this is by uplifting and empowering our kane, our Hawaiian men. The term He Huewai Ola literally means a gourd of living water. It refers to a man as a vessel of life guided by the god Kane. In Hawaiian culture, gourds also represent knowledge. In this series, we'll be showcasing and introducing you to some extraordinary gentlemen of our lahui. Some may be cultural practitioners, experts in their field, some scholars, some leaders in our community, and some may be all of the above. They'll share their perspectives, traditional and contemporary practices, and advocacy in our lahui. We'd like to welcome our viewers at this time. Mahalo nui for joining us today. We really want this to be an interactive experience. So what we'd like you to do right now is go to our Zoom chat box or Facebook comments, and please let us know who you are and who you're watching with. We'd really love for your ohana to enjoy these episodes all together as a family. Also, where are you joining us from? In fact, you know what? Let's make that our Huewai challenge for this week. In our comments, let us know what is the traditional Hawaiian name for the area you live in. For many of you, this is super easy, but for others, this would be a great activity for you to explore as a family. If you're watching from abroad, let us know what aina here in Hawaii your ohana is pilitu. Also, feel free to ask questions throughout the show, and we'll do our best to answer as many as possible. Okay, well, here we go. Again, welcome to episode 3 of He Huewai Ola. Let's meet our guest for today. This kane is a keiki o Ka'aina, raised by kupuna, schooled in Hawaiian immersion, and a graduate of Kekula o Kamakau. He has the pedigree of Aloha Aina. Content with the tools and wisdom of his ancestors, he is a bona fide and natural farmer that bridges both Korean natural farming and Hawaiian agricultural practices to produce natural, wholesome food in Hawaii. Previously, he managed Kanehunamoku Voyaging Academy farm called He Wa'a, He Moku, He Moku, He Wa'a, and also worked with Partners in Development's Kupa Aina Farm as project director. He currently serves as Vice President of Agriculture at Hina, Hawaiian Indigenous Natural Agriculture. He's a full-time father, and his passion is to leave a legacy of clean air, clean water, clean food for our mo'opuna of Hawaii. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome to the show Kūʻike Kamakea ʻŌhelo. Aloha, bra.
Oh, na kia koi kana Ayala ia e ke ki o da wo na ki no malu kana hele Emoloi no e laka I kou kuahu Ke aloha, aina ya kako pakahi a pau, aloha mai kale. Welcome to
Hey, aloha. Thank you for joining us.
Here in Waimanalo. Mahalo for having me.
Aloha.
Kia la kako o ka pō mua no o ka pō mahina. Tonight's moon is Kaloa, the first moon of Kapu Kaloa, the Kapu nights of Kanaloa. Ke kumu o ka leipo'o. The reason why I'm adorned with this leipo'o that my tita made of lau mai'a, yeah, the kino lau, or the physical manifestation of our akua kanaloa. So ke aloha aina e kako pakahi a pau. Where are we going to right now, Kale?
Well, the episode is about natural farming, and we can either go into literally showing our kane how to do a little farming on their own property, or just start talking about how we're all connected.
Okay. Okay. Let's start off with the oli I just shared. It's pretty common oli. If you're not Ma'o, if you've never heard it before, or you don't realize, that you've heard it before. If you watch Marimanak, a lot of the ka'i that they use, that the halau use, they utilize this oli. Yeah. And when the halau go up Mauka to gather whatever they may adorn themselves with, what I've seen in my ohana is our practice is, they enter the forest with this oli and to ask for pale, or protection. But I really just want to get into the first couple lines of that oli, yeah, nohona ke akua, that literally translates into that the akua, or God, yeah, lives, sits, or thrives. And then following that in the same sentence is ikana hele hele. And over the years, I've asked a lot of people, if we can work together and kind of translate this oli, yeah, because I want to see, right, what exactly have they been taught. Because a'ole pau kūʻike ka halau ho'okahi, that not all knowledge is contained in one halau, in one home or place of learning. But the reason why I want to define this or translate this in my perspective right now is so we can kind of get a clear perspective of what I'm heading into and why natural farming is what I do. Yeah, and why we're talking about it today. So nohona ke akua, that the akua lives, sits, or thrives. Ikana hele hele. Usually, when I ask people, the common answer, they always say, "Oh, the forest." So well, what's the na hele hele? Like, "Oh, the forest." I said, "You sure?" And they're like, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, who told you that?" "Oh, my kumu." I said, "Ah, then must be right." So then I usually jump into, okay, well, let's look into what our kupuna say and the puke vehevehe olelo. And maka puke vehevehe olelo no, yeah, in the dictionary, the Hawaiian dictionary, hele hele literally translates into weeds. Or so if the akua lives, sits, or thrives farm, why is it where, if our kupuna told us that's where the akua live, sit, thrive, if that's where they play, how come today, right, we're removing these weeds? So to me is, wow, so who told us that, yeah? And to me, being introduced about 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago to natural farming, I realized this when I read up about the natural farming's originator, the Kumu, yeah, Masanobu Fukuoka from Japana. And when I read his book, The One Straw Theory, the one straw method, yeah, and that how he would grow with his food crop, right, a diverse, amount of weeds or grasses, and how it would produce a smaller but dense crop and a more healthier one too. So then I started to think about, is that what our kupuna did as well? And looking into it, I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty much what they did. Yeah, because all of our food comes from the aina. So I had to think, consciously, who told us that these things are weeds? So then, I don't know, guys. I mean, for me, it's part of the plan to disconnect Kanaka from Aina. Yeah. It's one thing to take our language. It's one thing to oppress our culture. But when there's a disconnect between the Kanaka and the Aina, both suffer. And I believe this, and I've said this for years now, that the health of the land reflects the health of the Kanaka and vice versa. So when there's a disconnect, no can happen. So nohona kia kuika na hele hele. That when you guys are, because of this COVID-19 pandemic, yeah, and I laugh about it, I joke about it, and I say, you know, a lot of people are out there panic planting, but it really uplifts me to see people take an interest in growing their own food. But don't forget now, guys, the food is the byproduct of the aloha, the care, and the biology that is present. So when hey, stop me if I going off on a tangent and I lost you.
No, this is great. This is all great stuff, man. Thank you.
But natural farming focuses on the biology and the harmony between man, the land, the food, basically nature in general. And one of our great ali'i, yeah, our mo'i left this for us, that the sovereignty of the land is perpetuated in righteousness or harmony, guys. That's what pono is. You don't always gotta be right, but main thing is there's balance. So our kupuna, they practice natural farming. Well, what is dubbed natural farming today? To them, it was just regulars. So for me, it's just regulars kako. Yeah. So again, if you're interested and you want to dive a little deeper in a rabbit hole about natural farming, get plenty content on the internet. You can find it on YouTube, plenty Facebook groups. You can find it anywhere, kako. But the most important thing is the pilina that you build between Kiakua, the Aina, and yourself. Yeah. There's a reason why everything grows. So if you want to know, go look, guarantee you find them. Okay. Any questions, Kale, you have for me right now?
I think it's inspiring to our Kane, our men of Hawaii, that it's been an ongoing theme in our show that, you know, not all ʻike is taught in one halau. And usually when people talk about cultural practices, it's, you know, only the Hawaiian way and they don't include other things. So I think it's super interesting that you already said in your intro that you included elements from Japan, you're talking about Korea. How do you incorporate other cultures into the way you currently farm?
Well, kilo, observation, yeah. The kuleana of our ali'i, and especially when we started the kingdom, yeah, during the kingdom days, was to travel the world and get educated, travel the world and acquire ʻike, yeah, and bring the best of the world, bring the best of that ʻike home, so our lahui can apply it, so we can thrive, yeah. Within 17 years of the first missionaries landing, our kanaka, our kupuna, our lahui was the most literate in the world. We were the most literate country within 17 years of the first missionaries landing. Guys, we're made of the stuff that make magic. Our kupuna, that's magic that. So why not apply that today? Yeah. So kilo, yeah, and then research, noi. Ask yourself, yeah, attach yourself to the aina, get a hold of food. I mean, since we're talking about natural farming, you are what you eat. Not only the physical food, but the mental, the psychological, right? The emotional, the spiritual, yeah? Only you decide what you put in your mouth. Only you decide what you consume. And you become all of these things, whether you believe it or not. Our keiki who consume TikTok all day, you see them walking in the stores. Yeah.
Yeah.
Knocking through the aisles. So, guys, you are what you eat. It's that simple. So, talking about akua, yeah. The reason why I shared that is because in Korean natural farming, there's a thing called IMOs, and that's an acronym for indigenous microorganisms. And it's literally just the biology that is present or the organisms that are present. But there's a methodology within Korean natural farming that they put out, or they hanai, right? These akua. So they put out rice for a few nights, 2 to 3 nights, to capture these microorganisms or fungus, right? So when I learned about that, and then I was just like, that's kind of what our kupuna did. Yeah, they would go and gather to make clay or whatever it may be, right? These elements of these specific akua, and they would bring them and ho'a'ahu, their ahu, or themselves, or ceremony. So to me, it's the same thing, right? If you look in the Phuket Vehevehe Olelo Hawaii, if you look up the word fungus, you're gonna get the word akua. And if you translate that word akua back to English, what you gonna get, Khalid?
Right, akua, or
So it's
God.
it's
Yeah,
that simple.
gods.
Yeah. So how I explain it to people is, we get specific male kanu or holoholona, yeah, that walk this earth, that are physical manifestations of the specific akua Hawaii. And to me, I say, did our kupuna know the relationship between whatever's makai, whatever's mauka, yeah, to understand that that macro organism is the accumulation of all of these microorganisms, yeah, that are specific for whatever you want to do. For instance, well, since it's po kaloa and kapu kaloa and kanaloa, let's talk about the mai'a right now. The mai'a is the kino lau, or the physical manifestation of the akua kanaloa, yeah. And why is because when you oki the mai'a, it's full of water, and that's what the ocean is, just full of water, yeah. So to me is, did our kupuna know that at the micros level, at the atomic level, that the majority, like the micro, the bodies on a microscopic level, is that similar to the bodies on a microscopic level in the ocean? I don't know. So just through applying and working through natural farming, I found these things, and I'm gonna just tell you, they work. Yeah, what our kupuna have left for us, what they've told us, they just work. I may not be able to explain it to you in the most scientific way so you can understand, through the Latin language, but makolelo Hawaii, yeah, bro, they work. Okay.
Right.
So what I'm gonna share with you guys right now is some simple stuff that you guys can make. You guys probably get them lying around at home. And
Hey, really quick, before we get into that, can I ask you a quick question?
You can,
have you been farming all your life, or how has farming become such a big part of your life?
well, I would say all depends, right? My short answer is no, but my big answer, the large answer is the long answer is, I've been, yeah, that I'm sitting at the foot of kupuna and just learning from them. Yeah, they were cultivating my mind. So I would say I've been farmed my whole life, physically farming, growing food. I can remember as early, as early as maybe 7 years old, planting my first tree. I didn't look at it as farming. So maybe gardening my whole life, all my life I cut grass, like all the local people, You know, so I think on the micro scale, you know, I've been gardening my whole life, but stepping into the word quote unquote farming, um, not until my adult life, you know, did I scale up and was responsible for providing or producing food for others. Um, I was raised a fisherman in the ocean, and it's, you know, like I said, in my adult life, um, well, look at my size. Food is my passion. I love to eat, and because I couldn't always afford it, I had to grow my own. So that's where I'm at today. For the past 6, 7 years, I've been growing food has been my life. So that's my short answer, I guess, Kale. Mahalo for asking the question, though. Good question.
Thank you, bro. All right.
Anything else right now?
No, go ahead and
No?
start getting into your what's happening there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in front of you guys, you see, I don't usually like to work in the direct sun, so mahalo, we underneath the halepea right now, and I get Pu'unui right here with me, helping me out. Is it possible to zoom in with that camera?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want to show real quick, yeah, right in front of us. I think I can see on the camera. Manei, I just get some, you know, when you make steak or some soup bones. So I get some cow bones over here, some EVPP that I went char just before Pu'unui came. Why is so that's how you know that the thing makakau, yeah. You can take your hand, you can go like that and snap them. So what we're gonna do with this, with the EOPP is I'm gonna show you guys how to extract the calcium and the phosphate. Very natural process, very simple, very easy. It's cool natural science that you makua can do at home with your keiki. Next to this, right here, just before Pu'unui came, I crushed up some oyster shells. Yeah, and I'm gonna show you guys how to extract the calcium from that. Again, very cool, very simple, natural science. You guys can do it the keiki. And I'm sure if you are Hale Hawaii, Hale Kanaka, Hale Maoli, you guys get opihis lying around. Now, by no means am I, you know, advocating for you guys to go on the rocks and go pound opihi or gather opihi just so you can produce this calcium. But if they're lying around and if you're not making lei or anything with it, I'm gonna show you guys how to extract calcium from that. So the next couple minutes, I'm gonna set up. It'll only take me 30 seconds probably, but I'll show you guys something real cool, yeah? How we can extract the calcium from that naturally. And the other ingredient that we're gonna use in this is right in front of you. I get vinegar. This is organic vinegar. I don't know. I'm gonna spray the label because I don't know if you're promoting these other guys, but I'm sure everybody get vinegar lying around the hale, and if not, this is probably the cheapest thing on the shelf. I mean, one of these costs almost $2, I believe. You cannot even buy 1 gallon water for $2. So this is cheaper than water right now. Think about it, guys. Okay, so the other ingredient the other thing that we need right now is just a container. So I'm gonna show you guys real quickly how we do these 3 things, okay? Okay, cool. No, you get them.
Yeah.
You can zoom in, okay?
Yeah.
Mahalo. Real simple, guys. Glass container, yeah. Opia or fill them up. Manini kind. Since it's a small container, we're not gonna put a lot. What you wanna do, yeah, is 1 part of this solid, this matter, to 10 parts liquid. So that's the formula, kako. So we're just gonna eyeball them for today. You go a little more, a little less, no worry. It's all good. I think that's good enough. And Take the vinegar, yeah, opiha piha, and we're gonna be about 3/4 the way up. Okay, kako? So if you guys watch, there's gonna not so much the EV, but the shells, and you can do this with eggshells too. Yeah, but the shells, you're gonna see in a minute or so, it's gonna be a chemical reaction. So if you guys watch, you guys gonna see it start to sud. You guys gonna see it start to bubble up. As we can see right here, the oyster shells is kind of going off right now. And then the opihi shells, I don't know if you can zoom into that. I can bring them closer. Then the opihi shells, it's just gonna go off. Like I said, you wanna add a little more? It's fine, yeah. So this, guys, just to make sure everything's copacetic, yeah, and you're tracking everything. We're gonna label it. Okay, so you just cover it, kako, with a breathable lid. That's simple. Now we let it sit, guys, until it starts bubbling. For the EOPP, I mean the EVPP, we're gonna go. We're gonna go maybe about 5 to 7 days. The shells, same thing, 5 to 7 days. And I know kind of so Bombay, Punui, we can change the camera angle. I'll move this closer so we can figure out, so everybody can see the action. But oh, got it. Okay, well, Ali, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, Kako. So the EVPP, that's WCAP. What that stands for is water soluble calcium phosphate. And these two shells over here, the oyster and the opihi, it's just WCA, water soluble calcium. You can go Google, Wikipedia, so you can learn a little bit more in depth about the chemical properties. So basically what's happening right now is the acid in the vinegar is dissolving the organic matter. Yeah. So by the time this is POW, if you got your ratios right, I've done it before where the opihi becomes soft like a leaf, like a blade of grass. So if you get your ratios right, you know, you don't write, you know, then pretty much it should eat up or dissolve the calcium so it becomes water soluble. And what that means is now you get liquid calcium. Yeah. So the reason why we do these things is so the plants can absorb them just like that. For instance, if you throw the oyster shells in a patch of bananas, how long take for breakdown? Maybe a couple of years. You throw the OP shells, maybe a couple of years. You throw the EVPP, maybe a couple of years. Yeah. You do this with the keiki, have some fun, learn a little bit. In a week, you're gonna have a liquid solution or calcium that's water soluble, right? Where the tree can absorb just like that. But not only the tree, kanaka too. Yeah. So let me just share a little bit about when you use these things. So our atmosphere is made up about 72% nitrogen. So when it rains, kako, if you notice, like I do, yeah, everything gets super green, gets dark green. And there's a lot of growth that follows rain. There's a lot of growth that follows rain. So things grow fast. Why? Is because plant food, nitrogen is plant's food. So when it's water soluble, right? When it's in the air and it comes down, the plants can absorb it just like that. So you get plenty fast growth. But I don't know if you walk through the forest like I've done sometimes. We get plenty fast growth. There's a lot of branches and trees that fall down. There's a lot of leaves that fall down. So what that means is you get all the flesh growing, but not enough bone. Yeah. So simply put, Kako, if you want your meakanu or your plants or your trees to have the same characteristics or properties of the opihi, yeah, being pa'a to the pohaku, when the largest waves in the world crash on them, use opihi. You let them be solid, yeah. If you let them be solid, you like your tree have super strong growth, use the EV, use the bone, yeah. I mean, I can spend hours just talking about these things. I just try to keep it simple, Kako. But natural science, cool stuff you can do with the keiki. I don't know if you guys seen it when Pu'unui zoomed in, but there's a lot of action right now. I mean, what do you think? Is that action or what?
Oh yeah.
So get choke action right now. I mean, I can look on the screen and it's pretty zoomed out, but we're gonna leave this. I'm gonna put this to the side, and then I'm gonna talk about the catalyst in natural farming and what makes the Korean natural farming method work. Yeah, or the fire basically amongst the inputs. So just give me a minute or 30 seconds to get situated, Kako. So I'm gonna put all of these on the side, and then I'm gonna talk about. So,
Hey, so for Ohana that don't have experience in farming, but want to, reconnect to their culture, what if they want to start a small mala on their own property? What's a good first thing to plant?
your commitment, your mind. Yeah, anybody can plug plants into the ground, but how committed you are to the life or the growth of that plant is what truly matters.
Ooh.
Yeah, every plant is a keiki. So how we treat our keiki is how we treat the plants, right? I mean, aku puna talas, yeah? Hele poina ole ke keiki, that a child is a lei never to be forgotten. Why do we reference plants or meakanu? Because you are what you eat. So the first thing, yeah, is you gotta be serious, Kako. That's why I jokingly I said earlier, yeah, panic planting. Because everybody's like, oh shucks, we need food, boom, 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 boom. And then the one thing I told my ipora out of there, I told her, I see a lot of people's Instagram pictures and posts, yeah, they get plenty of lettuce growing. I said, imagine that, being forced to eat lettuce every day. But that's only reason why I say that is because in my diet, I mean, I like real hearty kind of stuff. Yeah. And plus two, if you gotta eat them raw, kind of sketchy nowadays with the rat lung. So that's why I was like,
Right.
But I focus on trees. I focus on papaya, mai'a. Why? Is because the starches, yeah, and they feel the opu. And I focus on ipu, kalo, right? Because the starches complement the i'o or the meat on the plate. Yeah. So that's what I focus on right now. But before I used to grow everything. And now I'm just like, So first thing first, Kako, ask yourself, yeah, how much energy is it going to take? Can you afford that attention to the meakanu? Because that's what really matters most. Because a lot of people, they're like, they call me up, they're like, Kūʻike, like, what's wrong with my plants? I said, I don't know, what's wrong with you?
Come fix my mala.
Right. And then, so I'm just like, to me, it's just, it takes time. If you sat there to observe your plant, like you sit there to observe your keiki, then you can pivot and make the adjustments that the plant or the meakanu or the keiki needs. So in natural farming, it's all relative. It's just life. It really is just life. Yeah. I mean, our keiki are ono for specific things at different times. So we got to provide those things, just like the meakanu. These are just amendments, like you go walk into the GNC store to go get. Yeah. So I started off talking about akua. Why? Is because that's the most important thing. Pilina. Between you, akua, the aina, and back to yourself. That's the most important thing, pilina.
Yeah.
And then I get the calls as well. It's like, oh, what's wrong with my meakanu? I water them every day. I said, that's the problem. You ever get on your child every day, like scold them every day? Oh, do this, do that, do this. What happens? The child, the baby get a habut. That's the same thing with the meakanu. We always, as makua, impose what we want on top of them, instead of just sitting back, relaxing, yeah, being pono, and just, okay, well, maybe this, maybe that. You hungry now? Not hungry? Okay, shoots. Thirsty? No? Okay, shoots. So it's really developing the pilina between you, akua, the aina, and back to yourself. And then that back to yourself is through the ai that you propagate or cultivate.
Right.
Something like that. And by the way, disclaimer, guys, yeah. I always, like, this is my disclaimer. Shucks, I don't know nothing. I just seen it done before. I make observations and I just share my experiences. So that's where I'm coming from, Kako. Funny story. I was 7th grade. I had some alone time with Anakala Erika Anana because I was in detention at Anuenue. And then Apaloi, and then I stayed after. So I had to clean with him. And then ended up that day was Kūʻike, and then was after everybody left. And I was cleaning kalo with him. And then he would share one thing with me. Yeah? And it stuck with me my whole life since 7th grade. This is what he shared with me. Mayau kahana, mayau kalawa'a, that if the work is neat, the work is clean, the results will be. And what we were talking about in context right in front of us was cleaning the kalo to prepare to ku'i. And he said, if you know hemo and scrape the hulu, if you don't do my kai, the poi gonna look like ants inside. He said, now kapoi. And I said, what? He said, yeah. If you don't scrape them good, if you don't take your time and look real good, the poi gonna get ants inside. And I said, huh, wow. So all these little pearls, yeah, that the kupuna dropped for us. That's really what it's about. Developing that relationship, yeah, and taking the time and the energy to make observations to kilo. So that's where I come from, Kako. Yeah. So that'll go off for the next couple of days. Moving on to the next thing. Shucks, what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, FAA. So the next thing I'm gonna share with you guys. Any questions, Kale? No?
Oh no, go ahead.
Moving on. Shoots.
Yeah.
Okay, Raja. So right here in this glass bowl, I'm gonna get it right in front of you. I get the colander on top just to keep the flies out right now. But inside this bowl, yeah, this is basically Miracle Grow. So this is FAA, this is fish amino acids. Basically, I took fish, I took EA, and when lomium, ever so slightly, sugar, yeah. And what happens is a natural process, chemical reaction happens. It's called osmotic pressure. And like pa'akai, salt will extract the fluid or the liquid from the matter. Because you get some pop-ups happening over there. I don't know what's going on. But anyways. Hey, Kali, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. So I've been fermenting this for about a year. And just before we started the show, I went in the container and we go pull them out, some liquid, so we can see on the camera. Yeah. Can you see this, Kale?
No, your video went out.
Perfect.
I can still hear you.
So
Okay, you
what
just came back on.
the video went out. Okay, perfect. Good timing. So what I want to do right now is I want to ask Pu'unui if he can come and smell this and talk about some of the observations right now around this liquid. Yeah. You can take your mask off, but
It smells delicious.
so what does it smell like?
It smells like the ocean.
It smells like the ocean.
Yeah.
So Cole, you got it right here from the mouth of Pu'unui. Yeah, it smells like the ocean. So what this is a 1.5 year old fish. Now, guys, I never have time to go get i'a, but in a little while, we'll walk through the process of making this with pu'amai'a. But guys, this is a 1.5 year old, and I'm gonna tell you, we can take the camera in a minute or two, and I can show you guys exactly where I'm storing this. And this right here, you can zoom out a little bit. Zoom out a little bit, yeah. So a 1.5 year old, guys, and I'm gonna taste this for you right now, so you guys know that I'm not full of that. That I'm not just talking. So guys, a 1.5 year old, guys. Okay, look how thick it is. Yeah, see how thick it is. So let me describe for you what it tastes like. Smells like shoyu. It tastes like i'a. And it smells like the ocean. It tastes like the ocean, actually. So all it is in here is just i'a that I've been fermenting for a 1.5 years. I introduced some of the akua that I talked about earlier, some of the indigenous microorganisms of biology to help process and break this thing down. So basically, guys, what Miracle-Gro, yeah, by the chemical companies do to the plants, what that does, this does as well, and even more. The plants and trees consume acids. So the i'a that was in here came from the Ohana Kalahiki in Kaneohe and Nakuli, and they have an aqua business, so hit them up, guys. So anyways, this is their scraps. A 1.5 years ago, made that. Pu'unui, are we mobile?
Yeah.
Ish? We're mobile-ish?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Try. Let's go.
let's go. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly where this thing, I've been fermenting this thing for the past 1.5 years. And yeah. You let me hold something? I can hold something.
No, I get 'em.
Okay. Oh, don't step over there. Okay.
Hey, so have you been Waimanalo all your life?
Born and raised Waimanalo. Let me put it this way. Born and raised Waimanalo. Moved into the homestead early 90s after my kupuna passed away.
Mhm.
Ever since then, been here on the homestead. So right here, Kapo, you can look how
Nice.
close proximity. You see this window? It's not my room, but it's my mom's room. We're right on the other side of that window. My mom's there. Okay, Kapo. So the past 1.5 years, I've been fermenting fish right outside the room, and no complaints, guys. No more smell, no more flies. Yeah, just a natural thing, guys. And 1 gallon of this makes 1,000 gallons of fertilizer. And if you don't know what that means, if you go into the store right now, Hardware Hawaii, City Mill, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ko'olau Farmers, and you guys go try buy a gallon of fertilizer. The average price you can find is about $36. Now, imagine buying 1,000 of those. Guys, that's $3,600. Oh, $36,000. Sorry, my bad. My math was off. 10. But you can do this at home with your keiki. Yeah. The value is there. The aina gonna love you. The biology gonna love you. So I'm gonna show you guys. This is what our 1.5 years of fermenting looks like. You can just see black probably. So you can see there's a lot of fungus. Yeah. You see all the fungus, see all the akua. Basically, all the flesh and everything's been extracted. This is just like beef jerky. What I used to do when I used to raise pigs was just feed this to them. What I do now is I just bury it in the ground before I plant the tree or a mala. So again, guys, if you know somebody with fish scraps and you got brown sugar lying around your house, 1-to-1, equal amounts. I'm gonna talk about it in a little while when we're working with the pool Mai'a. But this is the kind of stuff you can do at home to empower yourselves, to empower your family, to grow more food, to build a relationship with yourselves, with your ohana, with the aina, and introduce a kua into your life. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see behind me, guys. Let's go sidestep on. But okay, now we just go to
Kūʻike, we get about
Real.
10 more minutes.
shoots. Okay, kako. So I wasn't joking, yeah, when I said no hana kia kui kana hele hele. I know it looks like a big mess behind me. Yeah, you see all this cane grass behind me. I know it looks like a big mess, but inside this mess, guys, there's literally a couple 1,000 pounds of food. Yeah. It doesn't look like the Hollywood gardens that you find on Instagram, but I can tell you, it's not about what it looks like. It's about what it produces, what it does. So maybe we go in. We get 10 minutes of vala'au and then questioning.
I think 10 total.
10
But-
total. Okay. Well, if you want to take a break for questioning, that's fine. Up to you. Up to you, Ba.
No,
Sorry.
no, go ahead. Yeah, no, it's.
Okay.
I'm totally just
So-
blown away right now because all the questions I prepared were based on what everybody thought you were going to talk about, which is just your standard. Hey, if you want to plant this, try this. If you want to plant this, try this.
Well,
But the fact that you
here's the-
took this in a whole
here's the
nother
thing.
direction, and I'm glad you did this. This is amazing. Thank you
You
for
can get
sharing
that
stuff that
anywhere
people don't
else,
even
though.
think about. Hmm.
You go to YouTube right now. They're gonna deliver that for you. I promise you. Yeah. More holistic approach. Yeah. If you want a more Aina approach, then you gotta come Aina. I mean, I'm not the
Right.
only Naka that do this. You know, I'm not the only Naka that, but I'm gonna promise you, Ba, like when you come, you're gonna get Aina. And we can talk for days. Guys, find me on Instagram, Wahine on Facebook, again, Kūʻike Kamake ʻŌhelo. I'm always open. I'm always willing to talk story, guys. Honestly, if you get questions, pound them out right now. Pound them out right now. Because, again, the health of the Aina reflects the health of the Kanaka. The health of the Kanaka reflects the health of the Aina. So as long as there's a disconnect, nobody healthy. Yeah, nobody healthy, kako. So, bruh, all the weeds in your life, you're not alone. That's where akua stay. Akupuna told us that. No hana kia kui kana hele hele. Yeah, and when you go seek these things, yeah, and you adorn yourself with all of these weeds, all of this undergrowth, they sit on you, they become you, you become them. So what is more important, kako? Kali, let me ask you this. What is the most important thing in agriculture? Spit it out.
The most important thing in
The
agriculture.
most important thing in agriculture.
I would
just
say Aina,
yes.
but you mentioned the connection between the Kanaka and the Aina.
So the purpose of agriculture is literally to produce the best humans, because that's what the industry is about. The most important thing in agriculture is seed. Because I can show you how to build soil. I can show you, right, how to soften your water so your plants can absorb them. But everybody else can show you that too. But the most important thing in agriculture or farming or gardening is seed, kako. It is seed. You can have the crispest water, you can have the most diverse, biologically diverse soil. But if you no more seed, you're not growing anything. You ain't got anything. Now, the reason why I started off this talk, Makolelo Hawaii, small kind, is because we gotta look back. We gotta look back, Kako. So if the most important thing in agriculture is seed, what is the translation or the definition of seed? Like, what is that? What is seed in Olelo Hawaii? Do you know? Seed
Ano.
Makolelo Hawaii is what?
Ano.
Well, seed Makolelo Hawaii is ano or hua. And, if you look at the word ano, if you look at the word ano, like the word vai, yeah, to be wealthy, yeah, when a single word is doubled, that means there's emphasis on it, right? So if you look at the word ano, just one of those two, ano is your demeanor, is how you carry yourself, how you treat others, yeah, your character. Like that's what our kupuna tell us. So if the most important thing in agriculture is seed, and seed Makolelo Hawaii, or in our culture, is ano, and when things are doubled up, it's emphasized. The most important thing for us as Kanaka is our ano. Yeah.
Right.
And that goes back to building the relationship between us, Akua, Aina, and back to ourselves. It's the relationship, it's the pilina, it's the ano, it's the approach, it's our character, how we hold ourselves. Yeah, the sovereignty of the land. And when we talk about sovereignty of the land, like it doesn't only mean the land, because Aina literally means food. So the sovereignty of the food is perpetuated in righteousness or pono-ness. It's our ano.
Right.
It's how we carry ourselves, is how we treat each other. Yeah, the keiki are watching. The future depends on how we act. The future depends on the things we do. Your ohana, your mo'opuna depends on you. Yeah. Whether you want to grow 100 square foot garden or 100 acres, not going to happen if your ano is out of alignment. And that's why I said the most important thing earlier was here. Ask yourself, can you commit yourself to this? And it's okay. Take baby steps, small steps. That's fine. If you can only grow one green onion for make one omelet, good. Start there. All of these liquids that are showing you, this is just amendments. It's just, like I said, vitamins when you go to GNC. That's what this is. Yeah, Kako? The most important thing is the application of aloha. When it comes to natural farming, when it comes to raising food, when it comes to raising alahui, the most important thing is our ano and the application of aloha. Because if you go read Master Hankyu Cho's books, he himself, the master of Korean natural farming, he himself says, without love, none of that matters. So, oke aloha kamea nui kako. Mai poina I ke la. Never forget that. A I ke aloha aina hopeloa. This is natural farming. Yeah. We can get into all the details later, right? But you missed the point. If you build the pilina, we miss the point. If we no more aloha, you miss the point. So the health of the land reflects the health of its people. Yeah. So it is what it is, Kako. I mean,
Well, brother, I'm going to do a couple of things to wrap things up, but I just want to say mahalo nui for spending some time with us and for this unexpected perspective of farming that many of us don't think about, and the beauty of it is in the simplicity of it. And we really appreciate all the things you shared today. There was one question about the fish to brown sugar ratio when you're making that. It's just 1-to-1, yeah?
1-to-1, Kako. Even. Everything is always even. Harmony, balance, pono. Even. 1-to-1. Until we get to the liquids. email me, find my email, message me, DM me. I'll be happy to answer all of your questions, and hopefully in a timely manner.
Wow, bro. Thank you so much for your time again. I'm going to do a couple of things to close us off today. Ladies and gentlemen, again, mahalo nui to Kūʻike for his presentation today. Be sure to tune into our other Kanaiokana online programs. We have Le'a Nui Nui, Aikole, and of course, Huewai Ola. You have just watched episode 3, many more to come. We have like 20 more episodes and they're all exciting. Follow us on Instagram at Ahakane and Kanaiokana and our Facebook pages as well. We'd like to mahalo our sponsors. Mahalo nui to, for making Huewai Ola possible. Kanaiokana, Ahakane, Papa Ola Lokahi, and the Consuelo Foundation. Also, all you Kanaka, especially you Kane out there, during this pandemic, we want you to remember that you're not alone out there, okay? It's a kako thing for sure. If you ever need assistance, someone is there for you. Don't be afraid to reach out. We have a list of resources for you. And you can go ahead, this show will be on the Kanaiokana Facebook page, so you can go back and take a look at these. We have some for our kupuna and another page of additional resources, including for the pandemic and for our veterans. Also, if you have time, please help us improve by taking a short survey. Your voice matters. Again, tune in every Friday, 2 p.m. on Kanaiokana's Facebook or website. Next week, we'll have a panel discussion about mana, and that should be a really wonderful experience as well. Mahalo again for joining us for this episode of Huewai Ola. And as Kūʻike said, o ke aloha ka mea nui. We'll see you next week. A hui ho. Aloha.
You must stand up and be proud. Sing this message right out loud. Tell me, where are the brothers who stand up and fight?